All right. Well, cheers. Cheers,
Okay.
darling.
To a great day.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Hi there. I think we're on video,
I hope so. We set it up that way.
right? So, Ed,
Yes.
why don't you start? Introduce yourself. This is, by the way, Jimmy and Ruthie.
Yep. Living the golden years. Okay. I am James.
I am Ruth.
And in these videos, we're going to be exploring a bunch of topics important to people entering the so-called senior lane or the golden years.
Which is really a pretty farce, right? Golden years.
Yeah. There's no gold.
There's no gold.
And the years, well,
Yeah, well, but you know what? We are making the best of it.
yes, we are.
We are making the best of it. So why don't you tell what the videos are going to be about?
Okay. Well, in these series, we are going to focus on different things that will help in creating a self-image other than the public's perception of what it is like to be a senior. You know, when people think of senior, they're thinking people with canes, people with walkers, and our life is far from that.
Well, most definitely. I mean, I'm 80. You're
I'm 70. We
But
just got married.
We just got married.
In Las Vegas, in a drive-through, and
But here's the thing: many people are on walkers. Many people are in they may even be in a wheelchair. That does not mean that life is over. As long as you're breathing, is our motto. As long as you're breathing,
there's hope.
There's hope, and you can have fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And these videos are designed to explore all the aspects of what it's like to be in this part of our life.
Right.
From personal appearance to personal perception to work to money, online dating, and everybody's favorite, sex and romance.
Wow, that's certainly mine. Well, we
to
met.
that.
Oh, most definitely. we met online after my husband died, and Ed was alone for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, when I first saw him, I was so smitten that I just couldn't help it. But I had a smile on my face the whole date through, which was supposed to be an hour. We had a whole day dating.
Right, we went to 3 different places.
Right.
Dinner together.
Right. But, ours is probably a little unusual. Most people may not have the same. If you do, by the way, have an experience that you would like to share with us, we'd love to hear from you. And if you want to see all of the other videos that we are preparing, which are very informative, I must say, because these videos are not because we thought of a nice thing, but we experience it. It's our experience. It's what we have done. And anybody can do this. Ed is in the health profession, optical field. I'm a natural health practitioner and homeopathist. I'm also an esthetician. We pride ourselves of laughing a lot. Having some good wine helps.
Not taking life seriously is a big one.
Oh, a very big one. Yeah.
And that seems to be a big problem with a lot of people, is that they delve deep into what their perception of their life is at this stage. And it doesn't have to be that way.
No.
That you can recreate who you are. the biggest thing is the old axiom, age is but a number. And it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
We have a small little hobby farm here, and I'm out there almost every day pushing myself physically. The next morning, I feel like someone beat me up with a 2x4 while I slept, but I know that every ache and every pain is nothing more than my body rebuilding itself, giving me that extra stamina down the road. For me, lifting weights, picking things up and putting them down is not fun, unless of course it's bags of grain. But that's how I exercise. That's how I live my life, and I identify with the work I do as a much younger man.
Yeah. Yeah. And I do too. I mean, I 80, yeah, it's a number. Most of my friends are, or most of our friends are younger. However, we do have some contemporaries that are in their 80s. And all I hear is how depressed they are and how lonely they are and how alone they are. You know, my mother told me, the way you make your bed, that's the way you sleep.
That's right.
The way you make your life is how you
Live your life.
Live your life. If you don't want to live, if you're afraid to live your life, if you're afraid of everything, well, then it's going to be very hard for you to age gracefully, so to speak. We plan on never to age. We plan on
That's my goal.
to be. He is like the kid he was when I see that little boy coming out in you every day, you know?
Yeah.
And I love to be playful. I love to be you know, and we try new things all the time. Keeping your brain active, learning new things, doing new things is what we want to encourage you to do. So why don't you read some of the videos that we are planning to do?
Health and appearance is up there. Online dating, the do's and the don'ts.
Absolutely.
You know, it took me about 9 years before I found this beautiful lady. And it was a tremendous learning experience all throughout. Personal identity and image. How you perceive yourself is so important. How you view yourself and your age. I've seen people, one comes to mind where I met this woman who I figured was about 69, 70, and she ordered glasses from me, and she was going to go through Europe. And I said, well, we could ship them there. She said, no, I'm not going to be in one place any longer for any length of time, because she's following a gallery exposition of her work. Towards retirement, she took up painting. And a friend loved her work so much, she contacted a friend of hers who was a gallery owner, and it was shown, and it got picked up in 5 different countries. As she's getting up, she just pulls herself away, stands up, and says to me, not bad for a 93-year-old broad. And I go, what? I said, what's the secret? You're not leaving until you tell me the secret. She says, you stop, you die. You always have to have a reason to wake up in the morning, put your clothes on, and do something.
Not just
anything. Sit and watch TV.
Right. Not just
you
be on the
have to be
computer.
active. You have to keep the mind going. You have to keep the body going.
Right.
And that goes a long way to helping your personal image. Again, that's personal identity and image. Thinking and feeling young. Diet and health tips. It's not all about counting calories. A lot of it has to do with food choices. Things that you eat, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to eat well or drink well.
Or drink well. Yeah. We give you some tips too. Where to buy your wine and where to buy fabulous groceries that do not break the bank. Trust me, we are not extremely wealthy. We are definitely middle class, and we have our aches and pains just like everybody else
It
has.
is.
You know, there are some days when I get up in the morning and I say, ah, Ed sits there with his coffee and he says, good morning. And I look at him and he says,
Right,
yeah,
what
you look
good
like,
is it?
what good is the morning? Those days are definitely there. But if you focus on those days and not focus on the fun and laughter and the good, I don't care if you're sitting in a wheelchair, you can laugh. You just have to find the people that will make you feel good. And the way to do that is by not focusing on yourself. If you continuously focus on yourself, you're not going to have many friends.
No, of course.
Your problems cannot overwhelm your relationships with your friends or even with your husband or long-time mate. If you only focus on yourself, you have to be compassionate with the other. You have to be, willing to share, willing to give of yourself, willing to see the other person's view. And if they don't express a view, then ask them about it. Don't you agree, Ed?
Absolutely.
I really do think that we are in a society where it's all me, 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 me. That's it. Well, it's not like that. You have to share. And if you're in a long-term relationship and you're unhappy and you're lonely, I was married 36 years. And let me tell you, the last 15 years was some of the loneliest time in my life because my husband was very sick and he was not much of a partner anymore. And all I did was clean, work, cook, and take care of him and take care of the animals. Well, that's not much of a life.
No.
But once or twice a year, I ran away. I went into my little camper and I took a trip. Sometimes, most of the time, I went by myself because I like that. I went to China, I went to Thailand. I had a support group at home that I could say, okay, if something happens, you can reach this person. I had to do that because otherwise I would have gone nuts.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do
And I
what you
wouldn't
have
have
to
been-
do to keep your sanity.
And that's the point. That's the point. You have to do what you have to do to keep your sanity. Your sanity and your functioning of your mind is the most important thing. Your legs can give out, your arm can give out, your hip can give out, but if your brain gives out, you are FUCK, major. So don't let that happen. And how not? We'll give you tips on what vitamins.
Keeps us relatively sane.
Right. Well, I mean, we are definitely not safe, but.
Well, I always thought
but-
sanity was a little overrated
Yeah,
anyway.
absolutely. But I hope you guys got our drift. I hope that you subscribe. Please do, because if you don't subscribe, it's free. I'm not, even if you subscribe, you will not get emails and so on. But when you check in to check of what our next video is, it will pop up right away. If you don't subscribe, that will not happen. So I don't want you to miss out. I want you to hear what we have to say. And it's going to be a fun show.
Always light. Cheers.
Always light. And like I said, all of these things that we are going to be talking about, we experience, we live.
We lived it all.
We lived it all. There will be some beauty tips for the girls and just on the QT. Ed is a recipient of it too. Ed and Jimmy. Ed, the other person that we have met,
Mm-hmm.
big recipient of my beauty products.
Yes.
So, just contact, if you have questions, contact us.
Sure.
Send us a note,
Comments.
and what else?
That's about it.
That's about it
We're
for
gonna be
this
working
one.
on all the others and coming out, always trying to figure out new and different things to talk about that are pertinent to people in our age bracket.
Yeah.
To me, the senior years.
It's a stupid name.
Isn't it?
Senior.
Senior.
It's a stupid name.
It is. Are the most underserved group. Period.
Yeah.
If you look, everything is geared. We just came back from Vegas. Everything is geared for the 20s and 30s. We only saw maybe a handful of people that are our age. And it was somewhat depressing to walk through and not see contemporaries.
Yeah.
It was really very sad. And all we saw were lonely people at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning when we landed. We got to our hotel, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and people are on the slots. It's like, you have no life?
And they don't.
They don't.
They don't, because they haven't made a life. So many men and women, and I hear this all the time. I don't have anybody. I am not interested in being with somebody, but I'm lonely. Well, you know what? If you're not interested in other people, you are going to be lonely, and then it's your choice, and don't complain about it.
Yeah, but if you are not interested in other people, you could be alone and not lonely. If you
Right.
are alone and lonely, then you have to have an interest in meeting other people.
Absolutely.
That's the only other way to cure loneliness is to be with somebody.
To be with somebody.
And there are a lot of different avenues that you can take to have either a pen pal relationship, a virtual relationship, all kinds of different relationships if you're not into actually face-to-face meeting someone.
Right.
And we will explore all of that because there are all kinds of different support groups. I'm a veteran, and every time I meet a fellow veteran, even from a different branch of the service, we connect immediately. So if you have that in common, you can connect with veterans groups and support systems. A lot of people were in the same time that you were, and understand the politics and the mentality of the military at that particular point, whether it's like me, Vietnam, or Desert Storm, or Enduring Freedom, or whatever.
Right.
What's going on now? You can find people to talk to. You can find people to relate to, and that makes all the difference in the world. Because once you go back in time, life seems to become almost ageless.
Yes, it does. It does. And they have made a study on that. They have found that, in fact, it was several years ago, that they had two groups. One group, I don't know, some of you may have heard about it. Two groups. One group was, they just tested anybody over 60, I think it was.
Right.
60 upward. And that seems to be the crucial time, from 60 to 80. And I have had, just not to digress, but I have friends that I've known for 40 years. And they claim that when I hit 80, it all fell apart. Well, you know what? It's up here. It's not that things have changed.
That's right.
It's here. It's in your
That's right.
head.
You're no
You're
different at
80.
79 or 78 than you are at 80.
Right.
So why make that so the pinnacle of your life, and now it's going
Right.
downhill? I used to make a joke that when I went to the cemetery to visit a relative or my parents, I look around at the gravestones, and when I found someone that died, that was born around my time and died, I'm like, yes, I'm still on earth. I'm still up.
There you go.
I'm still vertical.
There you go.
And I made a joke that you're old when you walk around a cemetery looking at people that were born after you or your age and died before you.
Right.
That it's a joke, but there's at times it's not too far from reality. If your mind is, there are a lot of people walking around whose mind is already in the grave, and that is a shame because they're missing out on a
Part
beautiful
of their
life.
life. Part of their
Their
life.
life.
Yeah, just being alive and breathing is not living. Life is to be lived. But just to come back to that study, which was really very, very interesting, because that study showed that this one group, that they tested on cognitive, and they let them go on their regular life. They took the dog out, went with the grandchildren someplace, had the kids over, who all probably said, well, mommy, daddy, you should really get help. And first thing my deceased husband's children said to me, well, you got to get rid of your big house. What? Now I'm decrepit. Now they are regulating my life. Anyway, so this is what one group was. But the second group, what they did with them was, they took them back into the age bracket with the furniture, the music, the
TV
programs, everything.
They brought them back 40, 50 years.
Right.
To when they were children.
Not children, but young adults. And then they tested them afterwards on their cognitive behavior, on their ability to walk, on their memory, on everything.
And they were far superior.
They were far superior.
When they went in there.
Why? Because they felt younger, they thought younger.
Correct. And their body followed.
And their body followed. So with that, I would like to leave you for this episode. We will explore that of how to stay younger. And we will give you tips, we will give you things that work for us, and
maybe you can take something away from it.
Absolutely. And we hope that this will give you an inspiration to keep on laughing.
That's right.
Keep on drinking good wine. It's resveratrol in there. And that keeps you young. And, we hope. Don't forget, subscribe. If you want to hear more, if you want to hear us again, subscribe. We are doing this not for monetary reasons, but because we do
want to
believe
share what works for us.
Right.
Because we've seen so much heartache in people our age, and we don't like it, and it's time to fight back.
Right. Cheers. Have a fabulous day, evening, morning, whatever it is, and we hope to see you the next time. Bye for now.